clue, and he goes, "Oh, really? Yeah, really. What do you expect?"
You know, for the last half an hour and a bit, I've been up in my Discord thinking, "No, there's no one around," and I just happened to notice that some people were down here, and I thought, okay, well, looks like I'll have to move.
No, well, I was away from the PC. I was downstairs, sort of doing this, that, and the other. I've just come back and sat down and just sort of, oh, hello. There might be some life, you know. I mean, there's always life in gems, but oh, you gods.
Yeah, I've already been down there and on that other one, Geo's one, and
really not
they're talking about
for that
rockets
place.
well, they're talking about rockets in space down on Geo's. So
Oh yeah,
it was a bit more interesting, but on I mean, in Geo's, that was a bit more interesting, the conversation they were having down in Gems.
Since I have you guys here, like maybe Terry or Farmers or Billy, WS, maybe you guys want to take a crack at what proof is to you?
Yeah, well, like I said, it's something to do with evidence.
Yeah, but you said you heard that with somebody else, Terry. To you, let's say you were to prove something.
Yeah, I'm saying it's something to do with the evidence. To prove something, to have some evidence for the proof.
Okay, and what would evidence be then? See, it's a tricky thing, this. It's not as simple as... Yeah.
Well, it'd have to be something that can't be falsified. To falsify...
It can't be falsified? Yeah, I like that.
That's about all I got for now. My brain's only working at 5%, I think.
Fair enough. We'll get back to you. Think about it. It's not an easy thing.
Well, it is. It's you're now. It's not late. It's early stage, aren't you?
Yeah.
I mean, what you must be what?
Half one.
Yeah, 1:30 in the morning. Yeah,
we're the same minutes. We're just different hours.
Yeah, you're 11 hours ahead of me, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I can't give you the lotto numbers.
Damn.
How about you, Farmers? What do you think?
Proof. Well, it's either evidence or argument, basically. You know, depending exactly what you're talking about. I mean, what's the best way? I'm trying to think of the best way of putting this. If you're offering up something as proof, like say, well, this is what we're talking about at the end of the day, the shape of the Earth. Yeah, in my mind, there isn't any proof, there isn't any evidence that the Earth is flat. Everything we see,
yeah, but everything in general.
Well, yeah, but there's no proof of the flat Earth. Nothing's been presented to say this is flat because this. There's no this. No proof. There's no evidence.
Farmers, you're going to the model. I'm just saying proof in general. Like me and Blue, for example. Blue came up with a perfect thing. He says, look, I see. If I come across a dead body, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we look at it and we know that it's dead. Like, that's absolute proof that the body is dead. Would you agree with that, Farmers?
How do you know they're dead?
Oh, we'll kick the body, we'll put a mirror, see if there's any breath coming out, we'll do an EKG, you know.
Let's make this simple. The head is 1 meter away from the body to make it 100%.
Yeah, that's proof instead.
Yeah, if they've come broken down into their constituent parts, then yes, I'd say yes, dead. Yeah, that's clear-cut proof, evidence. Yeah.
See, the proof is the justification of the true statement. It isn't the true statement itself.
Justification of the proof of the true statement, you said, Billy.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, I like
that. But the first step to learning about proofs, Montreal, is to go to the doctor and get your mental illness treated.
Yeah, listen, Billy, I mean, seriously, you have a mental issue. There's definitely something wrong with you. This is not the place. Respect Blue's server. You want to play games? You go to Gems.
I'm not playing games. I'm being absolutely sincere, man. Respect. You are completely disabled by mental illness, and you should really go to a doctor.
Idiot. Don't try this here, because Blue.
I'm not trying anything, man.
No, we don't. We don't.
With this stuff here.
Yeah, we don't.
I'm not trying anything with you, man.
We don't go down that road personally.
You're talking to adults now, Billy.
Well, I'm
Which I
talking
know
to
all these
someone
guys
who
for
is
years.
absolutely crippled by mental illness, who
Don't
wants to
try. Go get
participate in a
educated.
discussion but
Go
can't.
see your mental nurse. Go see your slobber nurse. Don't try this stuff here. Okay?
Whether or
Montreal,
not SE's off
you're a
his rocker
short
in his
hop
sense.
away from just being a homeless person ranting on a street corner, man.
Billy boy, don't try your stuff here. You're embarrassing yourself. You're amongst adults here. You understand that?
Don't you want to be able to participate with the adults?
Oh, don't you want to have an adult conversation?
I
Up
do
until
all
you
the time.
opened
Don't
your
you
big
want to?
mouth, Billy boy, and everybody here will agree with me, we were having a very civil conversation.
Yeah,
Would you agree, gentlemen?
we weren't criticizing anyone's mental capacities or anything.
That's all he does, Terry. He
I'm
has two
just
things.
encouraging the guy to
Listen
get
to this, Terry. This
mental health
clown here has
treatment.
two
That's all.
things. He tells people to get your mental your mental state acquired, and get education. That's all this clown has.
Right, because
That's
you
it.
won't do those things, and you
That's
need to
all
so that
he
you can
has. So
participate.
please keep your mouth shut. Respect Blue's server. We're having an adult conversation here. Thank you.
SE might be more highly educated than what I am, but I don't worry about it.
Terry,
Well,
when you have nothing
SE
to add to
Montreal
the
kind of has a
conversation,
history.
Terry, this
He
is
can't
what you do.
really participate in a discussion. He doesn't understand anything.
Well, I don't understand a lot of things too, but that doesn't hold me back from talking to anyone.
I'm not insulting him. He needs to get treatment. It's like getting concerning.
You see, Terry? That's your man, Billy. That's
so you know
does.
SC Montreal enough to
Yes.
diagnose the person's.
Yes.
You do, okay.
So back to adult conversation. Putting aside Billy Boy, that has absolutely nothing. What were we saying, farmers? Because I think we came to an agreement.
Well, we can talk about different types of evidences that can lead to a proof or to prove something.
Right. About WS, would you like to take a crack at it? What proof is to you, sir?
I guess that's a no then.
That's right. Oh, there he is.
That's the wrong button.
Yeah.
I'm in my workshop.
So what evidence is that of you leaving that you proved you pressed the wrong button? So can you prove that?
Well, I'm back, so I don't really care to be fair at that point.
So WS, what's your opinion on the proof thing? What's proof to you?
Sure, I'll answer that, SC. Once you answer my question that you said you were going to answer from the other day.
Which one?
The one about Book 3, Definition 7, the non-rectilinear angle.
I'm not a Euclid guy, bro. I mean, I told you. You want to talk?
I showed you it, SC. I showed you the actual definition from the book. So surely you understand that when Euclid says that an angle is formed between the circumference of a sphere and a straight line, that would be a non-rectilinear angle. Would you agree?
I'll have to look at it. I haven't read that. Like I told you, I'm not a Euclid guy. But
you don't need to. I just told you what it said.
Well, he can't understand anything. He's completely disabled.
I'll be more than happy to have a shut up, Billy. I'll be more than happy to have a look at it, and we can have this discussion, WS, and another time.
There's no need to look at it, SC. I've literally told you what it is.
Issue. I'm trying to talk about proof, sir. If you'd like to talk about proof, go ahead. No problem. We can discuss this on another topic, another time. Me and you will spend an hour on it. No problem.
So that's to do with geometry, is it? With that subject?
So you just proved that you can't have a discussion about geometry.
No, I didn't prove that. I came in here today, and Blue sincerely accepted my offer. We're talking about proof today. If you want to talk about something else, we can reschedule it. Blue is right here, and we can talk about anything you like.
As well.
Today is about proof, WS. If you'd like to talk about proof with me, I'm more than willing to do it. But if you want to talk about something else, we'll do it another time.
I just proved you can't talk about geometry civilly.
So you have nothing to say about proof, correct, WS?
No, I just did.
What's your opinion on proof, sir?
My opinion is that I've proved that you can't talk about geometry because you know.
So there is such thing as proof then?
No, if you answer truthfully.
So WS, let me get this straight.
Would you like me to finish?
Sure.
Yeah, civilly. Yeah. So you will know that if you answer truthfully, that very simple question that is undeniable, that you will show that Bev is a liar. That's why you don't answer it. So I just proved that you are intellectually dishonest.
Right. Get over this gay thing you have with Bev. I don't know what your fascination with Bev is,
Why are
but
you
you're
being
talking
rude?
with
Why are
me
you being
now.
rude?
SC Montreal.
Yeah,
Please
why
don't
are you being
interrupt
rude?
me. Please don't
Why are you
interrupt
being
me.
rude?
Please don't interrupt me. We're talking about proof here. Now, if you want to come here and change the subject, it's not going to work. You understand? Your games are not going to work here. I accepted your offer to discuss Euclid at another point in time. Don't waste my time. I'm here today on a project.
SC Montreal, you waste your time every moment you don't go to a doctor.
SC, very simple. Yeah, I can prove that Bev is a liar with one definition from Euclid. There you go. There's proof.
Your proof. So that's 100% proof. You're saying there's such a way.
100%.
100% proof. So we got WS down, everybody, as saying that he's able to prove something 100%. We all heard this, right?
Well,
Yep,
with
and
evidence,
we all agree.
with evidence.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. So well, I agree, but these guys are skirting. They're coming into, yeah, especially Billy. It's exactly my point, Blue. Absolutely.
Well, with something like a geometric proof, if the proof is not acceptable to them, that's a defect in them.
Yeah, that's a bit obscure. That is.
I think it depends heavily on what field you're in. Like, if you accept some fairly widely accepted mathematical axioms, you can prove that a square is the rectangle with the lowest ratio of perimeter to area, and related stuff like that. You can prove Pythagoras' theorem, and if you're baking, you can prove the dough because you put the dough in a bowl and leave it for a while, and the ball of dough doubles in volume. And then you knead all the gas bubbles out of it and form it into a loaf and let it double in volume again. And I still don't know why people bother with that stage. I mean, if it doubles in volume, it doubles in volume. Bake it. But
you're saying proof in geometry?
Doesn't it use up some of the sugar or something?
Yeah, it probably breaks down the starch more or digests more of the sugar or gets a more even consistency or something.
You should probably try it both ways. It might be interesting.
Yeah, but if it makes the bread more fluffier, isn't that proof?
It's activating the yeast. That's why you prove it.
Well, yeah,
yeast,
but
the yeast needs time to get going.
You're proving that the yeast has been activated, really, especially if you're using dry yeast and you're putting it in warm sugar water before you add it to the flour. Yeah, you can see the foam coming out of the top of the jug if you're taking too long to get the flour ready. So you have the baker's proof of the dough. You have the proof of the pudding is in the eating, famously, which is proved directly from the German probieren, trying it, testing it. Finding out whether the pudding is any good is achieved by offering it to people and seeing whether they eat it. And you have the mathematical and geometric proofs like Pythagoras, but my university background was molecular biology with virology, and you really can't do geometric proofs with those. Like if you look at, to take one example, ricin. If you have a hypothesis that ricin is toxic by injection, well, you can't go around and inject humans with it. You get in a lot of trouble for that. So you inject a rat and the rat dies. But you haven't proven anything there because you just used a needle that was meant for vaccinating horses and stabbed it right through the rat's heart. Of course it died. Or the rat was old and it had a heart attack. Or you injected air bubbles into its vein and it died of air embolism. Or you injected too much water and not enough dissolved solids and actually caused all of the rats' erythrocytes to osmotically lyse, meaning they soak up water because they're salty on the inside to the extent that they burst, and that tends to be fatal.
So, Doug, are you saying that
that's not a proof? But if you get 100 cages and you have 20, well, let's just go for hypothetical huge numbers, which would cost a fortune, 100 rats in each cage in a climate-controlled warehouse, and you get your various assistants to shuffle a couple of decks of cards, minus the aces, because people get weird about aces, and deal them out onto the cages, and shuffle another deck and deal them out onto a series of dilutions of ricin in a salt and sugar solution, including some that contain no ricin at all. And then, without knowing which card went to which concentration, you put the bottles to, you match card to card to put bottles on cages. Then the assistant you like least goes around and weighs each rat just on Tuesday. Might need several assistants for, what was that, 10,000 rats? Weighs each rat and injects it with 1 milliliter per kilogram from its cage's bottle, and then returns all 100 rats to home cage for each cage. This is a big job, but, you know, hypothetical. We have millions of magic servants here.
So what are you saying, Doug? Through certain experimentation that you can achieve proof? Is that what you're saying?
Hang on.
Yeah, but you're talking for half an hour, bro.
That night, you might have some dead rats. You might have had some dead rats before you get around to injecting. But if you count and remove the dead rats from each cage over the course of the next 4 days, you can then plot your data and find that you have a number of dead rats per cage that is extremely low in many of the cages and extremely high in some of them. And in between, it forms an S shape. And you can plot a graph of the percentage of the number of rats you would expect to have based on the number of survivors in the cages that only got the salt and sugar solution that have died, which you can presume to be dead because they were injected with ricin, because them being injected with the ricin is the only thing that differs. All the rats were weighed, all the rats had the same food, all the rats had the same water, all the rats had the same toys, they all had the same climate, they all had the same temperature. They all got injected with 1 milliliter per kilogram of the same salt and sugar solution. It's just that some of them had ricin in it. If that is the only difference, then you have this percentage of dead rats, and you can then, from your data, do some calculations, and you don't come up with, yes, this is a proof, or no, this is not a proof. What you come up with is a probability that the results you got are just coincidence.
So all this talking, all this that you did, after all this experimentation, you achieved absolutely nothing. Is that what you're saying?
No. Because if that probability is less than 5%, your hypothesis that ricin is toxic by injection, at least to rats, is accepted. Until somebody looks over your experiment and says, hey, you missed a detail here, or hey, your supply could have been contaminated this day. Or
that's where you have to repeat.
This guy got something wrong. In which case, your research may get invalidated, or your research could be accepted and remain accepted until somebody repeats it across the tiny range where you report that a particular dose kills 50% of rats, and they get more detail, or they come up with the bright idea of separating male from female rats, and they find that actually it takes a much higher dose to kill female rats than male rats, which is the case with tetrahydrocannabinol, but not ricin as far as I know. Believe it or not, female rats can take more than male rats.
Right? Dog, you can prove with the right amount of this certain poison that you can kill the rats, correct?
It's not proven. It is demonstrated. And if you have a less than 0.001% probability of getting those results by coincidence, then it is demonstrated well beyond reasonable doubt, but it's not actually proven.
It's not. How in your brain can you give a rat a high dose of poison and it'll stay alive? How does that work? How is that a probability in your brain?
What if it's not a poison?
Yeah, but we're talking about poisons now. We're not talking about what ifs.
How do you know it's
assuming that it is a poison? We're trying to find out whether it's a poison.
But we established
how do you know it's a poison?
Because
some of the rat
poison to it at different doses. You said it yourself.
Yeah.
Jesus.
So I'm telling you now, in a high enough dose, right? Can you establish that, or in your mind, how can the rat stay alive with the accepted dose that it will always die? Is there somehow some way that mouse could stay alive?
What if I couldn't afford 100 rats in each of 100 cages in a huge climate-controlled warehouse, and 200 assistants Tuesday to inject them all. What if I only had 5 rats in each of 10 cages? Now we're talking about the deaths of maybe a dozen rats.
This is going into
well,
the weeds.
It may seem really unlikely that a dozen of your 50 rats would die in the same 3 days, but it's not impossible. Rats get old, rats get cancer, rats get squeezed too hard because they were struggling and biting the assistant. Right?
Saying with a lethal amount of poison that some rats will stay alive. That what you're saying?
What I am saying is that if you have a very small data set, the probability of that many rats in those cages dying by sheer bad luck is greater than 5%, and your evidence is inadequate to demonstrate the toxicity of the compound. Now, if you do have 100 rats in each of 100 cages, and you go from no deaths at all in any of the control cages to 100% fatality in all of the ones that got more than 50 micrograms per kilo, then that probability is so close to 0 that any scientist would accept it as adequately proven. But there remains the possibility that someone is going to come up with some astonishing evidence that actually it was something else that you just didn't think of in your experiment.
I get it. You're of the opinion that there's no such thing as 100% proof. Got it.
You can 100% prove Pythagoras' theorem. You can 100% prove that the square root of 2 is an irrational number.
Yeah, you're going into the weeds. I'm not interested in that. You think that there's 100%.
Try to be rational, SC Montreal, if you want to be able to participate in a discussion.
Yeah, you're of this opinion. I got
it. You're not interested in going into the weeds on Pythagoras' theorem can be proven. That's going into the weeds for you?
You're making no sense, bro. You're saying that yes, there is 100% proof, but then you're leaving that, that 1% possibility, correct?
It depends on what you're talking about as proofs. Exactly.
So there's proof,
go to a different field,
but there is no proof. Is what you're saying. Let's get this clear.
I have a machine that mixes, let's go bronze. It mixes copper and tin and produces bronze and produces it as a plate, and it has rollers and one of those radiation things to control the thickness or whatever. It produces a steady thickness of plate, and the next machine cuts those plates into a given size and shape, and I have thousands of these bronze plates. And I go out into the desert, and I stand some of them up, leaning back against sacks of oranges or gallon jugs of water, and I shoot at them, and none of the bullets get through. Have I proven that thickness of bronze is enough to stop a bullet? Well, it's enough to stop those bullets.
Weeds with all kinds of crazy stuff. I mean, I get your thing. You're saying there's proof, but not 100%. I got it. There's no reason to continue this.
The word proof and evidence has to be practical. You have to give a practical example.
Is evidence and proof the same thing to you?
No, evidence leads to a proof.
So you collect your evidence? Is that what you're saying? And I don't want to put words in your mouth.
Well, you're just reiterating what I say, but in your words, yeah.
Hey, Stingray, how about you, bro? What's your take on
what Dean turned up? Oh, look out, we're in trouble now. Come on, Dean.
Buddy is here.
Can you hear me?
Dean,
what's up, bro?
Well, I could even help Dean out. I'd say Dean's actually proven things by demonstrating things on my show that proves something.
I'm gonna have to disagree with you, Terry.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. The only proof ever.
Present. Can we establish with 100% certainty that body is dead, like me and Blue established before?
Well, no, because if that can change in the future, then it's not 100% now already.
Using a future fallacy here, I think that's what it's called. We're talking.
No, it's not a fallacy. You just can't reason.
How sure are you that we don't already have that technology?
That's not the issue. The issue is not future technology. The issue is me and Blue. We're walking down
define dead
or a path. We stumble across a body. We kick
you
it,
said this.
put a
Define
mirror there,
dead.
We check the pulse. the body's dead. How do we establish
dead.
that?
Let's say I'm walking along a path and I see somebody floating face down in the river. And I wade into the river and I grab them and I drag them out and they're not breathing and they have no pulse. Are they dead? 15 minutes later, they have a pulse and they're breathing, so they weren't dead.
Well, you stick around. You stick around in the body. You stay there for a day, 2 days. That body's dead, man. That guy ain't moving. Is there a possibility that he'll get up and walk away in your head somehow?
Infinitesimally small, but you cannot say it wouldn't happen just because it hasn't. So and when I say very, very important here, very important here is people often use 100%, and what they mean is it's the probability of it being false is so astronomically small that it hasn't been proven false to this day with many occurrences, and that's it.
All right. Not breathing, no heartbeat, 48 hours. In the Arctic, we defrost him and resuscitate him, and he actually recovers. You'd be amazed how late after drowning somebody can be resuscitated if the water was cold enough.
Okay. How about Sam Vines? Do you have an opinion, sir? I don't think we asked you what proof is.
Yeah, I've always gone with what's his name? The Rumpus. You can't prove that pink unicorns or pink fairies didn't do it. So if you can't prove that pink fairies didn't do it, you can't prove that what you think is the causation actually is.
Okay, and what's your take? So you're saying you're of the opinion that you can't prove anything 100%. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but
No,
that opinion?
That's pretty much true. Apart from things like mathematics and bourbon, that's about it. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, there's no wrong answer, right? Everybody has his own. That's what Project Proof is all about. Is me asking people what their opinion of proof is.
Well, I've studied a little bit of philosophy of science, and my understanding is what I've just said is pretty much the consensus of the philosophers of science.
Right. Well, I don't go by consensus. I don't go by philosophy and stuff like that. But I do respect your opinion on the matter.
Fair enough.
Pink fairies might have observed which bottle got which card and whispered in the ear of the assistant, not just move the dead rats from cage to cage, just swap a dead rat with a live rat to give you the results that they want you to get.
Exactly. And that's the problem. You cannot prove that that is not the case. So if you cannot prove that that is not the case, then you cannot prove that what you think is the causation actually is.
Cause and effect. I'm a big supporter of that. Yeah.
This is why what you get reported is the p-value, the probability of getting those results if nothing is going on, rather than a probability of your hypothesis being correct.
Interesting.
Hey, Essie, I've got a question for you. If I throw a ball up or any object up and it comes down, and all I'm doing is throwing it with my arm and it's going to come down, and I do it 1,000 times, I do it 100,000 times, maybe even 1,000,000 times, and I'm throwing it up as hard as I can, but the damn thing always comes back down. Is it fair for me to say and act within every realm of possibility that it's always going to come back down? That's one question. And then the second is it guaranteed that it will never stay up there and that it will always come down? Because the two are very different. Think on that.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'll give you that. Yeah, I'll give you that, Dean.
So I've got to go out, and I'm going to take my newborn daughter outside for the first time ever, and then I'm going to come back. But I can show you how I can predict the sun path using a model, a physical dimensional model every single time, no matter what you do, any location, any time and date, anytime, and it will tell you the path of it through your scan and show you it visually. It's always correct. It's never been wrong. That's not to say it will never be wrong. It's just beyond realms of all possibility at the moment that it is wrong. And it's, by the way, it's a globe. But I'll come back and I'll show you that in about an hour.
Not only that, you can derive what the sun would do on a flat Earth and see that that is not the case.
I've also got that as well.
Yeah, we can argue about this all day long like that. And I've had this conversation many times, but today, like, I want to do the proof thing. So, but I want to thank you guys. Like, you were very cooperative. And thank you, Blue. I mean, wow. See, we can have civil discourse. We can do it.
I can provide links to a couple of perspective calculator spreadsheets, which are kind of tedious, but they do work. One for Cartesian coordinates, which is just, you know, X, Y, Z, and one for actual globes, which, again, you can't really prove they're right, but good luck trying to disprove them. However, on the idea of disproving them, I need to address the black swan if P then Q thing, where they say if the Earth is a sphere with a radius of whatever the number is in miles, then the horizon can be no more than that distance away. That's an incorrect Q there. It's actually, the correct Q would be then the apparent horizon, well, then the geometric horizon will be that far away, to within the accuracy of that calculation, and the apparent horizon will usually be more than that distance away, not can be no more than. The apparent horizon will usually be more than. In the case of the spreadsheet calculations, the apparent location of objects will usually be somewhere in the range between 1.1 and 1.25 refraction.
Hey, we have a new guest. Maybe Anamorphic Mind could give us his opinion on what proof is. Hey, Anamorphic, what's up? You're usually talkative, well, chattative, let's say.
I don't see Anamorphic Mind in the list of people in this chat.
Well,
it's the daddy.
SE's daddy, SE Montreal's daddy. What's up,
Right.
Anamorphic? Cat got your tongue? Was it Schrodinger's cat, or?
Trying to recall a time whenever I heard him actually say words in a VC.
He doesn't say words in the VC. He's just a troll, text troll.
It doesn't necessarily mean just a troll. Just someone who abstains from speaking in VC, just types.
I wonder why that is.
There are a few people who do that.
That's also a good possibility.
World. I'll send him a microphone if he doesn't have one. That's Anamorphic.
SE's Montreal's daddy is.
Yeah, it is. You
That's
can click on profile and see that.
Yep.
Yeah, but he's been around for years.
And they can secretly record the whole thing, so that if somebody uploads tiny little edited sound bites from it to try to misrepresent what was being said, they'll have the evidence that that's not what was actually said.
Yeah,
anyone can do that.
Thought.
I think he's maybe Brenda or somebody in disguise. Doesn't want to talk. That's what I think. Somebody that we know. If he talks, he's going to give himself up who he is.
Well, since I've seen him chatting on that account while other people that I know are in VC talking at the same time, and you can't have that on the same device at the same time happening, I could pretty well conclude that he's not any of the people that I'm aware of, any of the people that hang out over at Gems, any of the people that hang out over at various other Discord servers.
But can you be 100% sure that that's not actually Bev?
And yeah, this is why we don't use the word proof.
His sock account. No, exactly.
Come on, Anamorphic. Here's your chance to shine. Well, you can type it in the text if you want. What's proof to you? Are you just a text troll? Or do you have anything of, of value to say? Here's your chance to shine there, boy.
Oh.
I failed to see the reason for
false
this.
Dichotomy there.
Yeah, it is actually.
Oh, false equivalence and false dichotomy.
Probably guilty of both, but I'll tell you why.
Putting stuff in a text channel isn't necessarily trolling, and speaking isn't necessarily worthwhile.
Yeah, but
it's perfectly possible to speak in the voice chat without having anything worthwhile to say, and it's perfectly possible to put stuff in the text channel that is worth reading.
No, just do a search on his comments with me. All he does is insult. That's all he does, and usually using gay innuendo. Kind of strange. Yeah.
Oh, maybe he doesn't like you.
Oh, he doesn't like me. That's certain. I mean, there's no question about that.
If gay innuendos are strange, then why did you call me gay earlier?
What did I called you gay?
Yes, you did.
Did I? I don't remember calling you gay. Not that there's anything wrong with that.
You said he had a strange gay thing going on with Bev.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He has like a lot of you guys here have like some sort of fascination with Bev. That's all you seem to talk about. Bev, this.
You seem to prove he lies.
Sorry?
It's only because it's so easy to prove he lies.
You want to prove lies?
I can prove that Bev is dishonest and lies, yeah.
Yeah, but what's this fascination with Bev? There's so many personalities on the circuit, let's call it, whatever you want to call it. But you guys seem to be fascinated with Bev. Why is that?
Because when we show that Bev lies, we then show that all his minions that follow him, like yourself, aren't capable of discerning the obvious lies. It's rather productive.
It's also more like tantalizing. Like he presents these like quasi geometric proofs, so it feels like to a newbie that if you just explain the geometry to him correctly, he would understand it and then, accept the truth.
Right. And you seem somehow to think that Bev has influenced me in some way, in shape or form, or he has some sort of
well, you just repeat his bullshit.
Oh, absolutely. He controls you, which is why you can't answer my questions honestly.
You're completely brainwashed, man. You can't even think SC Montreal.
Right. I was around way before I knew who Bev was, right? You can ask Stingray, you can ask Blue.
You can ask me.
We've been going through this on Jose's years ago, way before.
You've probably been mentally ill for a very long time.
Yeah, you see, are you on psychotic medication, Billy? Because it's my what I've seen is when people like accuse people of something, it's usually what they're on. Are you on?
No, that's something that you've made up because you can't think because you're mentally ill.
Right. I think you do have some sort of mentally ill problem. Do you have dreams of Bev? Do you see Bev in your dreams or something?
No,
WS,
you don't
what is
think
that sound?
because you can't think.
Sorry, what's that?
You notice this problem here now. We're having a conversation with me, right? SC Montreal, but all you guys seem to be talking about is Bev. Now, he has done some psychological issues in your brain here, clearly.
Well,
dude, please
evidence
go to
provided in the live chat that SC Montreal has been around at least since March 2020.
I've been around way before you. I know Blue, Farmers, and Stingray way before I even heard your name. I don't even know who you are. So we've been around many, many years discussing this stuff, way before I heard the name Bev.
And doesn't it bother you that you still can't understand any of it?
And I consider it an honor that you mentioned my name with his. But make no mistake, we are two different people.
You've been around for years and you still can't understand any of it. Isn't that a clue? Isn't that a clue that maybe it's time to go to the doctor?
Seriously, is that all you got, Billy? Tell me something of significance, Billy. Tell me something scientific.
If you go to a psychiatrist, I will pay for the first visit.
Do you see this, guys? Do you see it? Watch now. I just proved to you that
this is
Billy
a voice
Boy
chat,
is a
not
zero.
a video conference.
Is a nothing.
You didn't prove
all we're
anything.
seeing is
You're
little
a
green
nobody,
outlines
Billy Boy,
around
and I'm
rectangles on the
moving
screen.
in front of your friends right now. Tell me something scientific. Go ahead. Where is Bev wrong? Go ahead.
Bev assumes that there is one and only one plane of the horizon.
Yep.
And you think there's many horizons? Is that what you think?
I do, but if you're going to do a proof, you can't just assume that at the outset. You would have to prove it yes or no, or just not use it at all.
You heard of this,
Can I interject with an even simpler one?
Go ahead.
Sure. So that question I asked you before, SE. So in book 3, definition 7, Euclid said that there's an angle formed between the circumference of a circle and a straight line. So that would be a non-rectilinear angle, wouldn't it?
I don't know if he said it. Like I told you, I'm not a Euclid. I'm not a Euclid expert. I haven't
So
read all.
you don't understand what non-rectilinear angle means.
Oh, I understand it very well. I also know that it takes two straight lines to form an angle. Right?
That's
so
it.
you need two straight lines to form an angle. Now, if you're saying
you don't know that.
Hold on. You're saying that you can form an angle with a straight line and a curved line? Is that what you're saying?
Euclid's saying that. Euclid is saying that.
And Euclid defined that in his book of the elements.
Right.
So you're going against Euclidean geometry.
Okay, I'll check that out. Like I told you, I'm not a Euclid guy. But how would you measure that angle? Yes?
We're not talking about measuring.
You could measure it with a protractor.
How would you measure this angle?
Right, and Bev is also not a Euclid guy. Then, is what you're saying, SE?
No, what I'm saying is, I'm not well versed enough in Euclid to have this conversation with you guys.
Well, maybe you should verse yourself in
I'm
Euclid.
not an expert on this.
Rather than taking
Bev's
word for it.
You've only been
Right,
around
but you're
in
just
this discussion
taking
for years, Montreal.
No.
Yeah, you're just taking Bev's word for it, though.
Let me finish. I don't know the exact proposition. I told you.
You've been here for years, man.
We can have. Stop talking over me, please. We can have this discussion if you like. It doesn't scare me. Not an issue. If you like, I can bring Bev over here right now, and he could discuss this with you. Would you guys be willing to do that?
You mean Bev could shout over everybody who's trying to explain anything and make it completely impossible to have a discussion?
You're not willing to discuss with somebody that actually knows about this. You want to discuss this with me. Is that it?
No, SE, I'm discussing it with you because you stated that you need two straight lines to form an angle. Now, we've told you where you can find the definition from Euclid and the proposition from Euclid that says you're wrong.
Fine. Okay. And I told you I'll look it up. I'll go check it up. No problem. I accept your challenge. I'll look it up. Now I ask you this question. Let me finish. Don't interrupt me, please. With what tool will you measure the angle between a straight line and a curved line? Please go ahead.
A protractor.
So you will use a protractor to measure the angle between a straight line and a curved line, correct?
Yes.
All right.
Yep, you're setting up the base of the protractor as a tangent to that curved surface.
So now, are you guys willing to talk to Bev about this?
SE, hold on. To be fair, you said formed. You didn't say measured. There is a distinct difference. You can form angles with curved lines. You would then measure them to straight lines, but those same straight lines could be tangents to a curve. So therefore, you are measuring to the curved line. It's tangent.
So now you're saying that hold on. You're saying that you need straight lines to measure the straight line to a curved line, correct?
Yes, no, exactly. You definitely need straight lines at that point. Yes.
If you're using a protractor.
And it doesn't say that you can't form an angle with a curved line. That's the whole point. And I'll give you a practical example, SE. I'm sure you've seen eyeglasses before. Light coming in at various angles is focused with those eyeglasses, so you need to have angles to curved surfaces in that example.
glasses, yeah, but you guys admit that in order to measure the angle that you're saying is
with a
reached
protractor,
with a straight line on a curve, you need
using
straight
a
lines to
protractor.
measure it.
So what?
If you're using a
WS admitted
protractor,
that.
So
if you're
Yes,
using a
but you
protractor,
still get to have, but you still get to have an angle to that curved surface without having to measure it. You have to have an angle to a curved surface in order for eyeglasses to work in the first place.
Yeah, obviously the
The point
glass
here,
has to be
SE,
curved. Yeah.
SE, the point here is you stated formed. You didn't say measured. You stated formed. Bev states formed.
Yeah, well, I
Euclid
corrected.
states that
If you think I misspoke, well, then I corrected myself.
Okay, so can we just clarify?
No, let's put that aside.
No, let's just clarify, just to make sure we're all on the same page. So are you now agreeing that you can form an angle to a curve?
No, I'm not agreeing on that. I told
Jesus
you
Christ.
I would look into it. I told you I have limited knowledge.
Eyeglasses, SE. Eyeglasses
Fantastic.
exist.
It's only
SE,
been 2 years. He doesn't know
if I
what an angle
post
is.
Euclid's definition in the chat for you right now, will you look at it and then answer the question again?
I told you I'm not going to answer any questions here because I have limited knowledge in this. I can, though, bring... Hold on. I can, though, bring you somebody that is very, very well versed in this, and he can talk to you about this.
is he very, very expert?
See, there is no problem with that. However, what we're trying to demonstrate here as well goes back to my original point, that you've been brainwashed by Bev.
No, I haven't been brainwashed. I told you, and do not misrepresent my words. Listen up, WS. I told you I'm not familiar with the axiom or proposition you said. I told you I will look into it, and we can have this conversation in the future for an hour if you like.
You didn't look it up in the last 2 years.
Fantastic. So I will post that definition right now in chat for you. You can read it. It's literally only a few words long, and then you could answer the question again. There you go. That's the future time, and that's plenty of time right now. Unless you've got to go instantly, of course.
No. What we're going to do now is I'm going to ask you a question.
Oh, what we're going to do now? You're firm or something, SE Montreal. You seem very determined to direct the conversation and make sure you get to decide what can and can't be said, what can and can't be asked in here.
Don't try this stuff with me.
How about you look at the definition?
So
How
listen
about
up
you
now.
get yourself a good translation
Listen
of
up
Euclid's
now,
elements
Stop
and
blabbing
read it
your
to
mouth.
yourself,
We know you're going to
rather
do
than letting
tangent
Bev
of
tell
listen
you
what
what's
he's
in
going
it
to do now. He's going
and
to continue
refusing to let
talking
anybody
for
else
half an
ever
hour,
tell you
guys.
that there
I
are
know
things
all
in
your
it
games.
Bev hasn't read out and
I
which
know you.
contradict
Listen
the
up.
lies
He's
Bev
not
has
going to
been
stop
telling
talking
you.
now. Watch this, guys.
So
Go.
you, no matter how many times you tell us that Bev is very, very expert, you are bootlicking Bev. You are kissing his arse here. You are making it very, very obvious that you have been brainwashed by him. Saying you haven't doesn't make it untrue. Saying that he is a very, very expert.
Go on a tangent. He's going to keep on
more
going.
about
Watch.
It
Put the
all of
timer
us,
on. Put the timer on.
it's
Put the timer
evident
on.
that you have been brainwashed by Bev, that your head is so far up his arse,
taped, man,
you can't
like a
see
little
the parts of the book he is not reading out to you.
No, this
Go and
is
read
going to
the book
stop when
for
Blue is going to tell
yourself
you to shut up. I
and
predict.
read
Watch
the
this.
book for yourself. See for yourself, don't take our word for it and don't take Bev's word for it, what's actually in Euclid's elements, and find out whether Bev has been honest to you about what's in Euclid's elements. Without us or Bev filtering it for you.
And I have you psychoanalyzed, dog.
Euclid's
I have you
elements,
psychoanalyzed. It's
the
like you're
actual
sitting on my
content
couch
of
now.
Euclid's
You
elements,
understand what's going on here?
and see what
Your brain
actual
is
things
fried,
are
bro.
actually in
This
Euclid's
man
elements,
called
rather
Bev,
than
this man
what
called
Bev
Bev has
tells
taken
you
you to the
is in
cleaner.
Euclid's elements.
Your defense of Bev is indicative of your problem, SE.
Beautiful, man. It's beautiful. It doesn't get any better than this.
The fact that you can't acknowledge that angles exist to curved surfaces, when it's been so clearly demonstrated to you that it's part of our reality, an intrinsic part of our reality, is why we say you have a problem.
You have a problem with a man called Bev. He's in your brain.
Whatever problems anybody has with Bev, the problem that you have is that you can't acknowledge that angles exist to curved surfaces, even though that's something very basic in our reality.
No, absolutely wrong. An angle is formed by two straight lines. You don't
So how do
like
eyeglasses work, SE?
You don't have to like it. You can
How do
bitch
eyeglasses
about it
work,
all
SE?
day
What
long.
do they do? What is it that eyeglasses do, Essie? What do eyeglasses do, Essie?
He can't understand, man. He's
change
mentally ill.
Montreal.
Yeah, it's all getting a bit pointless.
Yeah, this has become. Maybe it's time to end this. Yeah.
Please go to the.
This has become.
I will give you money for a doctor if you need it.
Yeah, this has become.
Fuck's sake.
6th, 7th time I tried to speak. No problem. I'm
Dude,
used to it. Let me know when
you've had years to learn basic geometry, man.
Yeah, Billy, just drop it for a minute, will you, please? For fuck's sake.
I don't think encouraging him is good.
He can't drop farmers. That's who he is. This guy, Billy Boy, that's his persona. That's all he does. That's all he has, bro.
What's
Insult.
mine?
Doctors and learning. That's all
Yes,
he's about.
Yeah, they're both great. They're great. You need both.
Bro, I exposed you. You're a nothing. You're a nobody. Understand that.
Essie, what's my persona?
Oh, you. I like you, Stingray.
That's not my persona. My persona cannot be. My persona cannot be SE Montreal likes me.
Well, your persona is you're a reasonable guy. You talk reasonable. You try to put things in your computer. You make models. I don't agree with you all the time, but you're not a dick like Billy Boy or
Yeah, don't go on
being a dick.
I see. I'm sharing something for you right now. This is for you. You're on a computer, right? Yeah. If you just click on my live stream thing.
If you had 2 broken legs, I would tell you to go to the doctor too. Then it would not be being a dick. It's the same thing, man.
Get over yourself. You're a nobody. You're a nothing. You probably work in a cubicle having people slap you around all day. You come here and you try to act big.
Wouldn't you like to have a job too?
You are a nothing. Nothing.
Don't you want to be able to function in society as an independent adult?
You're a nobody. You're a nothing. You have 2 things, 2 sticks. If we were playing poker, I'd take all your money.
You're only hurting yourself, man.
You just keep every
You're
time
just
you open your mouth.
Up. You don't need to lash
time
out
your
at
mouth
me.
Opens,
you don't need to get a retort. Just go to the doctor.
Exactly. Every
Talk
time your mouth opens, you show who you are, dude.
Talk to your family, man. They have to have mentioned it.
Exactly. Keep it up.
They have, haven't they?
Exactly. Keep it up. Show how much of a useless person you are. Show everybody here in Blue Server that Billy Boy has
disabled?
Nothing but insults. Sorry, Stingray. I'm watching your thing now.
I'm not just insulting you, man.
I'm seeing a bunch
I
of
want to see you.
Northern Hemisphere winter, something off in the distance, X, Y, and Z axes. Possibly the sun.
So what I was doing, Essie, is I thought it'd be cool and it'd be brilliant if flat earthers could actually make a scale model and put a camera on a ball, yeah, and then just test what current science understanding of the solar system is. But the issue with that is, you could get a GoPro camera, and you could plant it on the surface of, let's say the largest ball you can get, kind of like a beach ball, and we'll call that the Earth, and you've got it mounted. But the problem with that is you need something 200 times bigger than that beach ball to be the sun at many, many miles distance, if we're doing it to scale. So it's easier for me to do the same thing in 3D, but there's no difference of me going outside and doing this with a beach ball and then getting a beach ball 200 times bigger, which would be the size of a city block, as the sun, and moving it the purported distance away, putting the angles in there. There's no difference whatsoever. Now, what we've got here, very simple to understand. We've got a beach ball, which is the Earth and the purported size of the Earth. We've got another big ball in the distance, which is the proposed distance to the sun. We've got a 23.5 degree axial tilt. We've got something that symbolizes the months. Now, I need to make these months more accurate in all seriousness, because they're actually just divided by 12, and that's obviously not the correct fractions for the months. But here it's pretty much accurate, which is, let's say, just on the New Year's Day, which actually means for me, because I'm at a very shitty longitude, I don't get a lot of sunlight But what I can do is I've got this observer on the planet. I can move this observer and add this coordinate systems, England, deal with it. And then what I can do is, using nothing but rotation of this sphere, figure out the path of the sun through the sky in a day as it's visible. Now, the amazing thing about this is at any point on the planet, at any progression through the day, at any day of the year, this thing is accurate. It has not failed to predict the path of the sun in my sky. These are 5-degree mil dots, 5-degree, markers, by the way. It's not failed at all. Now, I've done it, let's say I've done it 100 times, and it's not failed. I can say at the moment it's 100% accurate. Does that mean this is true to life? No, but it means it's 100% accurate in terms of the tests that I've done. Does it mean that it's an absolute truth? No. But has it ever been proved false? No. And have I tested it a lot? Yes. Can we test it? Yes. Can you give me a location and it'll predict the path of the sun through your sky? Yes. I also added something else, and I'll stop in a second. But I also added something else. This was for Rachie actually, but she never wants to kind of discuss things. If I move this dude to the top and I turn on star trails, we've got that's stars. Wait a minute, not stars, star trails. We can see now that the top and the bottom, there's just two cameras. One's looking up and one's looking up, but just on the bottom, looking up, which is away from the center. And we can see it matches star trails. Now this will tell you the angle of the star trails and the perturbation variance given your latitude. In other words, the variance that you would expect due to your latitude on the Earth. It will do all of this, and it's 100% accurate all the time. Now, I've tried doing this on a flat Earth, and it's been 0% accurate. That from a probabilistic standpoint, that's actually got to point towards a planet, right? That current science is real.
Well, you made a model. You made a model.
Yep.
Predicts what we see.
Yep.
I'll give you that.
100% all the time for anybody, anywhere, anytime.
Yeah. People have done this. Use the stars, which I call a gear system, which repeats all the time. They've used that for navigation. They used it for all sorts of things. But in your mind, does that prove a globe? Absolutely certainty? Empirical proof that is a globe? I'll grant you that you made a model that works.
Yeah. Beyond all reasonable doubt, yes, it does.
So to you, this is 100% proof
no,
of a globe because you referenced it in a model in a computer.
So just really quickly, there is. So first of all, what's your definition of proof and your definition of evidence?
Well, the reason why he keeps adding the word proof is because he knows that everybody else here knows that the word proof is sort of one of those terms that doesn't really apply to all things in science. That there's no reason to use the word proof, and he wants to keep doing it. That's why he's using it.
Right. So this single model produces various different predictions that are always correct. They are multi-tiered evidence using the same model. With all probability and betting my life, my newborn child's life, and my girlfriend's life, the probability is that we live on a planet.
Okay, look, you're willing, and I respect that, and I'm not going to argue with you on it. You're willing to bet your life, your newborn child's life, that your model accurately represents what you see and you think it's a globe. I'm not willing to do that, right?
I'll
tell you why. Because for thousands of years, other civilizations, notably the Greeks, the Egyptians, the Chinese, have been using the same movements of the stars for navigation. You know about the Antikythera mechanism, right? So, I mean, what does that prove? Because you made a model, are you saying my model equals globe? This globe? I mean, seriously?
Get on with it.
Yes, celestial navigation maps the celestial sphere to the surface of the Earth 1-to-1. SE, you see the problem with that, right?
I'll give you a problem. So you're telling me now that the ancient Minoans, right, used global navigation? Is that what you're telling me? First of all, do you know about the ancient Minoan civilization?
It doesn't matter what I know about any given civilization, SE. The problem is that the celestial sphere is mapped to the surface of the Earth 1-to-1.
In your brain, the celestial sphere is mapped 1-to-1. I'm telling you, there was a civilization.
You're going to disprove all celestial navigation
Let me
then.
finish. There was an ancient civilization called the Minoans. Okay? They have a mechanism called the Minoan eclipse calculator. Okay?
That's not celestial navigation, is it?
Thing. Let me finish.
Get on with it.
4,000 years old. Are you telling me that they thought that the Earth was a globe then? They had some way of knowing that the Earth was a globe 4,000 years ago?
You're going to attempt to disprove celestial navigation with an eclipse cycle calendar. Is that what you want to do right now, SE?
Before you open your mouth and talk further, embarrass yourself, have a look at what I said. It's not only that. Before you talk further, I suggest you research the Minoan eclipse calculator. Sir.
How did you not say exactly the fucking thing that I said?
I see, just really quickly on that calendar shit that you're on about, can that tell me the exact incidence angle with the Earth of that eclipse?
The reliability, I'm not sure exactly. Obviously, we have improved on these methods.
Well, here's wait a minute, just really quickly. Let me just finish that statement. Here's a spoiler alert. It can't. Statistically, you can predict an eclipse. Statistically, and be probabilistically accurate. What we can do with making a sphere, making a model like I've done here, is tell you exactly where the totality of that eclipse will transition over the Earth to within half a mile.
Yeah.
Now, that's all we can do with the mile.
We've improved on these methods, yes.
No. That's a model predicting that. That's not statistics predicting that. We don't have statistics that say, well, it runs from North Carolina in this kind of tangent all the way across to Washington or something. We don't have that. We have, this is the sphere, these are the spheres, these are the orbits, this is time. Where's it going to happen? Oh my God, yes, it happened. And just like this model now, I'll just show you one last thing, because this is amazing. You can test this yourself, and this only happens on a sphere. You see, we've got the Terminator line that perfectly matches this sphere. We can actually test this, and inadvertently, I have tested this many, many times. So at the bottom left here, you can see Italy, then you can see Sicily, and then you can see the Balearic Islands just off the east coast of Spain. Now I spent time there, and I ring my mum and dad, and it's just amazing to me how I'm actually further west, further east than my mum and dad, but they're in pitch black. Now that's why this Terminator line and the axial tilt. I can actually go at this time of the day where I can't ever see the sun anymore, and I can go to a webcam on the Portugal coast and see the sun above the horizon. It matches all of these things, all of these tiers, all of these data points, all of these tiers that you can go down. It matches it exactly. It doesn't fail. I'm not saying this is absolute truth, because we could still live in a computer simulation. But even if we do, and everything isn't real, this thing still represents that reality to the best of our understanding without any reasonable doubt. Reasonable doubt.
You know, there were actually civilizations 4,000 years ago that didn't know that the Americas existed?
Yeah, look.
Of course.
Argue with farmers. He made a model. His model works. I'm not going to argue with him about that. That's not the issue. The issue here is, and again, I'm going to reinstate that I came here to talk about proof, right? Now, to me, this doesn't prove anything. But irregardless of that, this model that he made, fine. No problem with that. The point I'm trying to make is this has been done for thousands of years. there is a gear system in the sky which repeats all the time, and humanity has learned how to use that for navigation and predictions. And as we advanced with our computers and stuff, we added on upon previous knowledge to reach where we are now.
The example you provided was not of navigation, however, and it also didn't provide a means to describe where the eclipse in the future will occur, where it will pass over, which, if you remember, the 2017 eclipse was well predicted well before it actually happened, and people went to places before the totality was visible to go see the totality. That's not something that a gear system can predict.
At the Minoan eclipse calculator and the Antikythera mechanism. That's all I can tell you.
Okay, what as I just described to you, and you were busy not listening, that doesn't work here in our reality with the way that with the precision that we have now, with the models that we have now.
I told you, and I'm going to tell you again, we have improved on these methods. I don't know which part of that you don't understand.
Yes, the improvement was to actually model the heliocentric model. That's where the improvement lies.
Whoop-de-doo, you improved on it, yeah. But do you admit that it was modeled way before you guys were born, like thousands of years before? Do you admit that?
There were statistic cycle analyses done which showed that there would be qualitatively an eclipse at some point somewhere. It does not describe where somebody will see the totality. It does not describe when, down to the second, they will see it in that location. That's something that only the heliocentric model can do.
Yeah. Obviously, you haven't done your research.
I can't predict whether
check the Antikythera mechanism for the 100th time.
Dude, yeah, it doesn't do that.
Dozens of times we know you want us to check it. We want you to go and read Euclid's elements for yourself, dickhead.
I'd like to thank
you can be wrong though, SE. You're allowed to be wrong though, SE.
I'm not wrong. I don't want to. This was a perfect.
Show me the Antikythera mechanism, showing me where the totality will be.
Leave it here. I want to end it in a good note. I can come back another time and we can discuss mechanisms, whatever you want. I want to thank Blue for allowing me to do this. And I want to ask you one question. DP asked me to ask you: are you going to have a talk with him, a debate with him, Blue, or what's going on with you guys?
DP.
With DP.
Jesus Christ. Nobody needs to give DP anything.
I'm not asking you. No plans. Okay. B-Ball is here. B-Ball, before I go, would you like to give us your opinion on proof, sir?
Right, you not got enough sound bites yet for your next video?
Hey, this is serious stuff, man. I'm trying to merge the communities now. If you guys want to play games,
bullshit.
Fuck off.
Who's playing games, SE? If I mention that light comes in at an angle to eyeglasses to a curved surface, and you just say nuh-uh, who's the one playing fucking games?
I told you that obviously lenses are curved. Nice try.
Okay, but the light comes in at an angle to those curved surfaces, and you can't acknowledge that angles to curved surfaces are allowed and happen in reality.
Yeah.
You won't acknowledge it because you're playing games. You're in the middle of playing games. That's your thing.
No, you're playing games. I'm trying to get B-Ball's answer. I just graciously thank Blue for his hostability. You're not going to get away with this with me. It's not going to work.
SE, he's responded to you in the text chat. He says it's 5 a.m. in bed, wife is asleep. So I suspect he's just listening.
All right, fair enough. On that note, I would like to thank Blue very much. Thank you, sir, for allowing me to do this. And thank you, everybody, for participating.
Thanks for the sound bites, everybody.
Yeah.
Be sure to copyright strike his next video.
I'm sure everybody else. Oh, sorry. Yeah, no,
I'll get back to you.
Just really quickly, Essie, before you go, I'm sharing you something. I'm trying to make the font bigger. essentially the primary information that we can see about your mechanism. I propose that you pay careful attention to the paragraph labeled accuracy. It's a good read. I'll leave that with you.
Okay. All right. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. We'll talk again another
Good luck,
time.
man.
Thanks.